Good evening, everybody. I am Alex with True 90's NickSclusive, and tonight we're going to get to interview Justin Shenkarow, I hope I pronounced the name correctly, and I am wearing a Christmas shirt, but it's the only shirt I have that's actually got any Hey Arnold character on it, so it'll have to do for tonight. But I'm really excited to do this. I'm really excited that Justin's agreed to do this, so he should be joining us here soon. We just confirmed with each other that we're good to go. Hello! So he should be joining us here pretty soon. This is his first time doing an Instagram Live, so I had to walk him through just a little bit ago. So it might take a minute to get him set up, so I might have to send him an invite, but we'll wait and see. I'll give him a few minutes, because I know sometimes the notification on Instagram takes a while to get over on the other end. Hey, Karen, you guys are awesome, by the way. I mean, I say it all the time, but I really, really mean it, because you guys always come tune in for these things, and you've been very supportive of me, so you guys are really, really cool, and I really appreciate you. So, I'm going to give Justin just a little more time, and because I know, again, like I said, this is his first time doing an Instagram Live, so if he doesn't tune in pretty soon, I am awesome too. Thank you. Hi, Savannah. If he doesn't tune in soon, I will send him an invite. In fact, you know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. My favorite adult from Hey Arnold. You know what? I don't really know. All right, give me just a moment here. I know I have no requests. I want to send an invite. Yes, silly. Let me try this again here. Invite to join. I want to type in someone to join me. All right, so give me a minute. Here we go. Invite to join. I'm going to invite. There we go. That's what I was looking for. So we can get him. Hey, not sure why, but it's just spinning when I join the live. It's frozen. I'm going to restart my phone and try again. Okay, no problem. We can stall for time. Not a big deal. So Justin had actually messaged me earlier, and he was talking about doing while he's resetting his phone. Because again, he's never done an Instagram Live. I know I've said that like 3 or 4 times already, but we talked about doing a Zoom call if this didn't work. I know we wouldn't be able to do it live. I'd have to record it and then upload it onto Instagram later, but we can do that. And I will still ask the questions and all the stuff that you guys had provided, along with a few of my own. But we'll make sure to get this out if we can't get the connection established on Instagram Live, because unfortunately, Instagram on a laptop and a computer, it doesn't do well with Instagram Live. So we're going to wait a little while for Mr. Justin to get his things set up, his phone set up. Okay, he's in. Awesome. So, send a request and have him join. So he should get in just a moment.
What's happening?
What's
live,
up?
baby. I'm live.
Welcome to the party.
Fantastic. First time being live. This is fun.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a lot of fun. It's a good opportunity to let the fans ask some questions. So this
Andy, my brother.
And I know some of the followers have been super excited about get the chance to chat with you. So this is awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Karen, Princess, and Nancy. Look at all these people joining. How fun. This is my first time doing this.
Well, I'm glad I could be your first.
Listen, I'm glad that it's you being my first and not somebody else, okay?
Oh, I appreciate it.
What's happening?
Well, not a whole lot.
I gotta do my Harold voice just to get started.
Go ahead.
I think that's Uncle Frank that just joined too. Hey Arnold, come here or I'll pound ya.
I love it. I love it. All right, so
well, first, thanks for having me on your show. Thanks everybody for hopping on and listening, and let's have some fun and chat about the 90s, Nickelodeon, Hey Arnold, and everything else you want to talk about.
Yeah, man. So definitely want to talk about Hey Arnold because I got a lot of Hey Arnold fans, but I've also got a lot of fans of Eerie, Indiana. And especially my buddy Joe, he is a huge fan. He lost his mind when he found out that I was going to get to chat with you.
How
So
cool.
I can't not avoid Eerie, Indiana. So what was it like working on set for Eerie, Indiana?
Eerie was the best. Actually, of all the shows I've ever worked on in my life, and I've been very fortunate, it was my absolute favorite experience. We were like a little family, cobbled together, working at CBS Radford Studios in Studio City, and it was just so much fun. They would blow. We'd have little smoke that we were crawling through on the set because obviously strange, weird things were always happening. We had
Yeah.
our little clubhouse that we went up to where we hit our clues. And I mean, for a kid, it was just such a wonderful experience because it was weird, eerie, strange things that happened in town. One of the episodes, one of my friends, he could talk to dogs through his braces. I mean, how cool was that? One of the episodes, ATM Heart of Gold, my personal fave because I had a very big part in that episode, and I got to ride around in a limousine for the first time ever. Was great. I mean, I got unlimited ice cream in that episode. Rode around in a limo, and an ATM spat out a bunch of hundreds to me. What wasn't to love?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, did you ever watch the show after it was put on TV?
Of course, I love the show. Yeah, I was on the show when I was 11, so I was in 6th grade. I remember it came out. We watched every episode. It was in TV Guide at the time. I don't even know if you know what TV Guide is,
Yes.
but it was like
Yes.
that little magazine you'd get at the supermarket, and it would tell you all about the shows coming on. We were on the cover. I mean, it was great. And then, they put us up against 60 Minutes, which was like the worst time slot you could possibly have. We had a really bad lead-in, and unfortunately the ratings were crappy. But critics loved the show. People love the show, and still to this day, I talk to a lot of fans of Eerie, and it's great. Funny enough, last week I was doing an interview with a writer who lives in Argentina and runs one of the biggest TV magazines in Argentina. And apparently Eerie was on for a few years there, and it's a big hit. So
Really?
We're big in Latin America.
Wow. Okay, so we got a lot of comments coming in, and we got a lot of questions that are going through. So for those of you who are asking questions, I promise I'm not avoiding you. I'm trying to keep on topic. I've got myself a little notepad here or note to keep track. So I'm not going to ignore your questions. I promise. I will get to them when we get to certain shows. For Eerie, Indiana, did you ever get recognized as a kid? You're the kid from Eerie. I know the ratings weren't great, but did anyone ever recognize you from it?
I did. Yes, it would happen occasionally. People would come up and say they love the show, and it was great. I mean, fans are always super nice and friendly and say words of encouragement and how much they like you on the show. What's not to love? Right? Everybody likes being told you're good at something. So, yeah, I loved it. It was fun.
Now, in retrospect, how often, well, I should say, which show do you get asked about more often from fans? Do you get asked more about Hey Arnold or Eerie, Indiana?
It's a combination. I find that in the last year or 2 years, there's been a big kind of nostalgia push for Eerie. So I asked a lot about, being on Eerie and Simon and hopefully Eerie, Indiana coming back, which we want it to come back. I want to reboot Eerie. But of course, Hey Arnold is near and dear to so many kids' hearts who grew up in the 90s. I mean, just a sensational show. The writing, everything about it was so wonderful. And I mean, that's the cartoon you grew up watching. So I think forever, Hey Arnold will be in the hearts and minds of 90s kids.
Yes, very much so. So you were switching from Eerie into some of the more, not necessarily obscure things because they're big shows, but you only did, correct me if I'm mistaken, one episode of Batman the Animated Series.
Yes, I did one episode of a lot of things.
Yes.
Yeah, I did.
Yes.
I did one episode of Batman, and yeah, it was great. I mean, working cartoons in terms of coming in to do an episode is a lot of fun. A lot of times, it was 15, 20 years ago, so I don't remember exactly what happened that one day that I was working on the show,
Yeah.
but it was great. I mean, I'm thrilled to have been on an episode of Batman.
Now, before...
That's right. We need a season 6 of Hey Arnold. We need a season 6. No doubt about it.
Now, before I had reached out to you because I didn't want to misinterpret anything, but I was going through the filmography and I saw that you did Pro Stars.
I did? What's Pro Stars?
Pro Stars. Yeah, see, everybody says that. At least according to your filmography. And I know that's not always accurate, but Pro Stars was the cartoon where it was Bo Jackson, Michael Jordan, and Wayne Gretzky as heroes. And I think there was a kid who was usually being saved in some way.
Yes, I think I was in an episode of that. I don't recall. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
But yeah,
Perfectly
I do
cool.
remember working with those guys, you know, when I was a kid. I remember there was an episode of a show I did. Remember Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure with Keanu Reeves? They did a cartoon, and I did a couple episodes of that, which was fun. But yeah, Pro Stars, I most likely did it, but I was probably 12 years old, and I forgot.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
that show has fallen into obscurity. So anybody who likes early 90s TV shows, that's not Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
The whole season's on YouTube. It only lasted one season. So it's not the greatest, but it's definitely a product of its time.
Hi.
So switching over to Hey Arnold now, because we've got to address it. We can't. Where did the voice of Harold come from?
You know, it was Hi Princess. Hope Wisconsin is good. Is great. How did it come about? My agent sent me on an audition for Hey Arnold. I got there. I met Craig Bartlett, the creator of the show. Wonderful guy, incredibly talented. He gave me the script, and typically when you audition for a cartoon, there's a little bit of a drawing of what the character looks like. So I looked at the character, and he looked kind of like a bully. The way he was described, he was a bully. And I just went deep into my soul and thought about the kids that bullied me in school and thought, all right, I can channel some of that bully energy. And that's how it came. I just kind of lowered my voice. I lowered the register of my voice and kind of toughened them up a little bit, gave it a shot, auditioned for probably, 20, 30 minutes in the room with Craig, and that was it. I was blessed. I got the gig.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, was there any bit of personality traits that Harold has that also were some traits that you have?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I think definitely with any character you create, there's so many different facets to all of our personalities, right? There's kind of our soft side, our tough side, our, nerdy side, our outgoing side. We all have all these different parts that make up who we are. And sometimes as an actor, you just kind of, you draw on those different aspects to create the character you're working on. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't really, that's a great question. I haven't had that before, but most likely, sure. I mean, Harold really was a big softie. I mean, he's a tough guy with a tough exterior, a bully, but a big heart, really cared about his friends, cared about his family, and just, he was picked on a lot. So therefore he kind of had to create this tough shell to battle back against the kids that made fun of him. And so he wouldn't take it. He was going to stand up for himself. So sure. Yeah. I mean, I probably have some of that aspect to myself, but I don't know specifically which one.
And we're still getting some more questions in, so that's awesome. Send all the questions.
Danielle is great. She's a sweetheart. She's great. Big Patty.
And my buddy Joe actually just joined. The one I was telling you was a huge fan of Eerie. So
nice.
Joe,
what's up, Joe?
You just missed the Eerie Indiana talk, but I'll post it on IGTV later.
Right on.
But let's see. Do you like Eerie? Did you watch Hey Arnold when it came out? Also,
great question. When Hey Arnold came out, I did not watch it. I was older than that. I was like, because I was born in the 80s, so it was I kind of already finished my cartoon watching. I was watching Saved by the Bell, Beverly Hills 90210, Melrose Place. I was like in, middle school and high school. It wasn't until actually much later that I started watching episodes of Hey Arnold. And also, a lot of times when you're working on a show, you don't watch it necessarily because you've read the script. You know what's going to happen. You work with the other actors, and it's not that exciting to watch that episode that you worked on. I love watching television and film, but usually not the stuff that I work on. But I ended up watching Hey Arnold much later in life, and I understood how fabulous it was when we were doing it, the camaraderie, the writing, the directing. But it really, like you mentioned, when I watched it later, I saw, wow, this is a beautiful show. The morals in each episode were incredible. Such a great cast, and I think we had excellent chemistry.
That's awesome. Did you have any favorite episodes that were favorite to record?
Yes. I had a couple favorite episodes. All the episodes were great. It was unique when we worked on Hey Arnold. They bring in the entire cast. So all of us would read the script, all of us kids, for about 4 hours from top to bottom. So we'd get the script, and we'd all be in a huge studio room. There'd probably be 15 of us or so, and we'd read it from page 1 all the way to the end, which I thought was great because it allowed us to improvise. It allowed us to play off each other and really kind of create the energy and the chemistry that I think pops so well on screen. A lot of times in cartoons, you don't do that. They call you in, you do your 15 minutes, you write all your lines with the director, and you're out. But for Hey Arnold, it was different. I think it really was a great choice. My favorite episode, as Karen is mentioning, is definitely my bar mitzvah episode, for sure. Hands down, Harold's bar mitzvah. I got a funny story regarding it. So Craig, the creator of the show, comes to me one day and he says, I want to write an episode that Harold has a bar mitzvah. I said, that's great. He said, well, I'm not Jewish, and I know you recently had a bar mitzvah. Would you mind giving me some of the prayers that you read for your bar mitzvah, and we'll have Harold read those during his bar mitzvah? And I said, sure, absolutely. Well, for my bar mitzvah, I work with a cantor who's the singer, and she kind of wrote down all the English explanations and kind of the English version for the Hebrew. And I didn't study that hard, honestly, because I was doing a lot of other things. I should have put more time and energy into it. So instead, when Craig told me this, I called a good buddy of mine who's still one of my closest friends, Danny. And Danny's Orthodox, an Orthodox Jew, very religious. So I said, Danny, I need the prayers for what I would say on the Torah beam because I need it for this episode. So he writes down all the prayers. I said, okay, great. I give the prayers to Craig. Craig puts them in the script. We do the episode. The episode comes out on TV. The episode comes out. I get a call from Danny. I'm like, Danny, what's up? Isn't this great? You said the wrong prayers. What are you talking about? He said you were saying the prayer for the wine when you're up there reading the Torah. You said the complete wrong prayers. Said, oops. So, a little bit of trivia. If you go watch the Harold's Bar Mitzvah and you know Jewish prayers, you'll realize that I was saying the wrong ones.
That's hilarious.
Pretty funny. Yeah, so that was my favorite one to record. I loved the one, the butcher. Mm-hmm. The episode where I get caught stealing and I have to go work for the butcher. That was a lot of fun. So yeah, good times. All the episodes were great, but those two are my favorite.
Are those also the same ones that were, because you had just said that the ones that you watched, the ones that you recorded, not necessarily your favorite to watch. Did you have any favorites that you'd like to just watch?
Of course, the ones that I had the big part in were my favorites. Harold's Bar Mitzvah, The Butcher, those were my two absolute favorites of Hey Arnold. Of course, Stoop Kid is great, the Christmas episode. There's so many wonderful episodes, but those are my favorite.
And we previously, when we were talking about Eerie, Indiana, I apologize if I forget your name. Or if I did forget your name.
My name is Justin.
but one of the members who have tuned in, that's the one I forgot their name to. They were asking what you thought about the Helga and Harold being together on the Bikes and Buses episode.
Great. I mean, refresh my memory of exactly what happens in that episode.
I'm horrible because it all blends together. I've only got bits and pieces. But from what I understand, I may have been Harold who had a bit of a thing for Helga, and I don't really know. So somebody in the comments, help us out.
Yeah, fill in the details of what happened in that episode. Yeah, I mean, we always had a little bit of a contentious relationship, Harold and Helga, right? We were always kind of duking it out. But, I mean, in real life, Franny, who played Helga, is awesome. She's totally a sweetie, and we always had a blast recording. And, you know, she's super funny and just awesome.
Now, did you have anybody in the cast that you liked to work with, or I should say connected with, more than the others?
All of them were great. We had great chemistry, all of us. But Jamil, who played Gerald, was one of my best friends at the time. He's still a very good friend of mine. We used to actually travel together a lot. We went to Club Med in Mexico 1 year together. We went to Jamaica 1 year together. We were very tight. We were really, really good buddies still to this day.
And we just had a question. Did you like working with Francesca Marie Smith, Andy McAfee, and Olivia Hack?
Yes, all of them. Wonderful. Love working with all of them.
And it sounds like the whole cast got along really well, so that sounds cool.
Yeah, the whole cast got along incredibly well. I mean, I think it showed on the show. You know, a lot of the shows that run for a long time, typically the cast gets along very well, and it kind of shows up on the screen. And yeah, we got along great. I mean, we'd go for lunch together, we'd hang out, we'd do things together. We're good friends.
And outside of Hey Arnold, I'd also seen that you've done a lot of voice acting for video games.
I have done some, yes. Yeah, which is great.
How different, is there a difference between doing voice acting for a TV show and a video game?
Definitely, a big difference. One of the things for video games is you typically go in for like a 4-hour session. And as I mentioned, for cartoons, you know, usually you're just in there for 15, 20 minutes doing your lines and you're out. It's kind of a sweet gig. That's why all the celebrities are doing it. You know, they're taking our work. They realize, wow, this is a pretty good gig. But for video games, you're typically there for 4 hours, and there's a lot of screaming in video games because after you do all of your lines, you have to be killed a million different ways, right? So you have to do all of these efforts and these grunts and this like, you're being killed this way and you're being attacked this way and an axe cuts off your head and, you know, you're flying off a mountain and you get chopped in two. And so, yeah, I mean, video games are great, but honestly, between the two of them, I prefer cartoons.
That's awesome. I say that's awesome all the time, but it is. I love learning these kinds of things.
Cool. Yeah.
So again, for those of you in the digital world who are watching, if you have any more questions, send them our way. I do have two very special people I want to call out because they in particular wanted me to tell you thank you. But Stephen Dyke and Evan Tuttle, both of them told me via Facebook that Hey Arnold, particularly the character of Harold, really resonated with them. They both had anxieties, and particularly one of them was an only child and had to learn social normalities, and Harold struggled with trying to be social. Right. And they both have commented that character really resonated with them and helped show them a lot of morals that they wouldn't have gotten otherwise. So they wanted me to tell you thank you for all your work on the show.
Thank them, and that's very nice of them to say that. Kudos to the writers and for writing that incredible material. And I just kind of said the words and had some fun doing it. So any way that we can help and I can help, that's great. So I appreciate their words. That's very nice.
And I know it's just voice actor, but do you think there could ever be a possibility of a season 6?
Absolutely. It's up to the fans. We got to make it happen. Yes, the fans are the reasons why we were able to do a couple movies for Hey Arnold, because they put together a petition on Facebook and over 100,000 fans signed it. And that resonated well with Nickelodeon. I mean, that's why they bring shows back to reboot them, is because the fans demand it. They put together a petition. They get tens of thousands of people to sign it. They contact Nickelodeon. They contact the network feverishly. So, yes, I would love to bring Hey Arnold back, and I would love for the fans to make it happen. So I'm there 1,000%. Any support you need from me, I am in.
And somebody, just I got to scroll through here because we have had a lot of support on that one. Patty or Rhonda?
That's a toughie. You know, I don't like to choose between my two favorite ladies. So, I don't know. I don't know. That's up for the fans to decide.
All right, that is all that I have. So I'm going to open up one more time to the fans. So if you guys have questions, send them our way, because we're going to probably wrap it up here in just a bit. And again, just preemptively, Justin, thank you so very, very much for agreeing to do this. It's been a true blessing.
I'm stoked that we could do this. My first time being live, so this is a learning experience for me. It's fun. Thank you to all the amazing fans that popped in and my friends. You guys are awesome. This is so neat, and it's fun to just be able to do this and get questions from fans. I think somebody asked which video games I've worked on. I've worked on several of them. Honestly, you have to go to my IMDb page to tell me which ones I've done, because I've done like a lot of voiceover work, and sometimes I forget which ones. But a big one was not film noir, but it was
L.A. Noire.
L.A. Noire. Yes, I worked on that, which turned out to be a pretty big video game, which was a lot of fun. Great. Actually, for that one, I had to do CGI, where they put you in a suit and they strap all these little buttons on you. It's wild, and they put you in a room, and all these cameras are facing you. It's cool. It's a cool experience.
All right. We did get about 2 or 3 questions that just popped in. Yep. So I'm going to scroll up a little bit so I don't miss anybody, because they came in to check in on you. Somebody said there's too much screaming in my house. Don't worry, I'll post this on IGTV so you can watch this when there's not so much screaming. Not sure if it was asked yet, but what was the hardest episode to do? And we did get to the favorite episode, if you came in late for that one. But we did do a favorite episode. What was the hardest episode?
From Hey Arnold?
Yes.
The hardest episode. You know, that's a good question. None of them were particularly hard. For some odd reason, when it came to singing in the episodes, I always had to, sit in the corner. I was not allowed to join the entire choir. Even though I think I have a fabulous singing voice, apparently other people don't. So what would happen is we'd have a song that Jim Lang would write, right? Jim is brilliant. He was the composer for Hey Arnold. He wrote the best songs. And all of us would be singing them together, and they could hear my voice. I mean, also I was playing Harold, right? So my voice was very powerful and loud and kind of a little bit obnoxious. So I would poke through. They'd be like, you got to calm down. I said, well, I can't. That's Harold. Harold is, bold. So I would have to sit in the corner. And then after everybody recorded the song, I would record it separately. And not that was hard, but it was a little bit hurtful. Let's put it that way.
Oh, gosh. Favorite Harold line?
Madam Fortress, Mommy! And I actually made that one up. I came up with that one.
Do you prefer the Hey Arnold the movie or the Jungle movie?
That's a good question. They're both great. It's hard for me to decide which one's better. Probably just because it came out more recently, the Jungle movie, and I love that we found Arnold's parents. That was really cool. But I did like working on the movie and doing the movie because it was at Paramount, and we were able to walk the red carpet and do a huge premiere, and that was just kind of cool to do.
What was the biggest thing to act out or the hardest thing to act out?
The biggest thing to act out or the hardest thing to act out? From Hey Arnold?
I assume so. This one, Savannah usually asks about Harold.
That for me is I love doing Harold, and it wasn't necessarily that hard. But I'll switch to Eerie, Indiana real quick. There was an episode where I had to cry, and that was very difficult for me at the time. So I had to like dig down deep into my soul and think of something very sad. And that was a hard thing to do. Some actors can cry on cue. Like they just bang, they are ready to cry at a drop of a bucket. But for me, it's a little bit more difficult.
And speaking of Eerie, Karen had another Eerie, Indiana question. If Eerie did come back, what do you think Simon would be up to now?
Simon, that's a good question. Simon could be mayor of Eerie. That's possible. Or the other thought I had was Simon is running an underground school where only the kids know about all the paranormal activity that's happening in Eerie, Indiana, and none of the adults know what's going on, just like they didn't know when Marshall and I were working on it together. But because Simon knew as a kid, he knows as an adult all the strange things happening. So he, along with the kids that are in this school, almost like a Marvel kind of school, are investigating all these strange, weird things.
Let's see. Back to Arnold. How do you feel about Arnold always hitting Harold with a baseball accidentally?
Not cool. Not cool at all.
Have you ever read any of the Eerie, Indiana books?
I haven't. I've heard they're great, though. I haven't read the Eerie books. Yes, we need to bring back Eerie. Let's bring it back.
Hey, you guys in the comment section are killing it. You guys got some great questions.
Yes.
All right. I think I'm scrolling through just a little bit more because I don't see any new ones, because we had quite a few there. So, again, I'll leave it to you guys a little bit more. Let's see. Is there any, hypothetically, if you could be on any previous show that you could provide a voice for, what character would you want to do? Or what show would you want to be a part of?
You mean as a cartoon show?
Yeah. Or any live action. No, doesn't matter. Any show you would like to be a part of.
That's on currently or was on in the past?
Either one.
Probably because it was so popular when I was a kid. Beverly Hills 90210. I wanted to be at that high school. I wanted to hang out with those kids. I thought that was so cool.
We did have someone ask, why was there a DeLorean in the last episode of Eerie?
Oh, my gosh. That was the coolest, right? So the last episode was so amazing because they broke the fourth wall. All of us were kind of playing versions of ourselves. And the DeLorean showed up. I forget who was driving the DeLorean. Was it for Marshall? I think because the creators of the show, Carl Schaefer and Jose Rivera, both fabulous. And I think we have Uncle Frank on this watching live. Uncle Frank, Carl's brother, Uncle Frank's a brilliant photographer, was the set photographer for Eerie, Indiana. And he and I put together, along with Karen, who's amazing, managing the page, an Eerie, Indiana photos page on Instagram. Check it out. It has all these behind-the-scenes photos of Eerie, Indiana.
Yes.
Yeah, it's super cool. Why? I don't remember exactly why there was a DeLorean, but I think that Carl and Jose, the writers, just thought it was an awesome car. Who doesn't think it's an awesome car? And they just wanted to put it in the episode.
Back to Hey Arnold. What was Harold's favorite Jolly Ollie flavor?
Oh, boy. Hello, chocolate fudge. What are my thoughts on Eerie, Indiana, The Other Dimension? Wasn't that the reboot they did in Canada?
Yes.
Boo, terrible. It was horrible. It was like the worst thing ever.
So someone asked, did you ever watch the Rugrats, Jimmy Neutron, or Wild Thornberries?
Rugrats, yes, loved it. In fact, Craig, who was the creator of Hey Arnold, worked on Rugrats prior to Hey Arnold. And I also did a few cartoons with Paul and Joe, Paul Ansberry, or Paul Germain and Joe Ansberry, who they did Recess. I don't know if you remember Recess.
Yes.
But I worked on Recess with them and also Lloyd in Space. And Paul was one of the creators of Rugrats. So love that show.
Okay, so and I had completely forgotten. You're one of the voice actors who's been both on Disney and on Nickelodeon.
Yep.
As a voice actor, was there any difference between working for the two?
No, both of them were great. They were. I don't think specifically there was any difference. You know, any job you book as an actor, you're lucky to work. So I was just thrilled to be there.
We have one that said, not a question, but I really love Harold's father.
Yeah, my dad was on the show was great, but also he was terrific. Question: do you remember who played the rabbi on Hey Arnold?
Ooh. All right, fans, that's up to you guys.
Who played the rabbi?
And Joe said, thank you for giving us both Harold and Simon.
You're welcome. Thank you. That's very nice. I'll just give it to you. Elliot Gould. Elliot Gould played the rabbi, and he was like a very, I mean, he's a wonderful actor. He was a super famous actor in the 1970s. In fact, he was married to Barbra Streisand. But he was like a big movie actor, and he was a character. He was such, like, just a funny guy.
Oh, I do have something else I was wanting to ask. Because you also were on Life with Louie.
That's right.
Did you actually get to work with Louie Anderson?
Yes, I did. I love Louie Anderson. The best thing about working on that show was I love all the actors I've worked with. Yeah, I'd love to reconnect with some of them. The best thing about working with Louie was coming in after he did all of his lines, because he'd always order a ton of food, and I would just kind of go in there and finish some of his scraps. And Louie is just funny as hell, right? Just a funny comedian, so funny. But yes, I love working on Life with Louie. I'm so bummed that show didn't go on for many more years. I played Groomwald and Glen, and sometimes my two characters would be talking to each other in a scene, because Groomwald was Louie's best friend. He was kind of the mischievous, snarky kid, and Glen was the bully. And sometimes Glen and Groomwald would talk to each other, and that was really fun when I would record that.
Now, did you record one voice individually all the way through, or would you just flip-flop?
I'd record one individually all the way through, but then sometimes, like, I'd record them both just for fun. Like, we would just kind of do it just because it was, like, you know, it was funny.
That's great.
Yeah. All
right, so far, I don't think we've had any new questions yet. So we'll give the fans just a little bit longer. We're starting to get a lot more of the thank yous and the comments, so I think we're starting to wind down. What was this one?
One of my favorites. I love Life with Louie. Thank you. Yeah, it was awesome. Super awesome show.
Yeah, Life with Louie and Bobby's World. I really loved those two.
Cool.
All right. I think we're going to call it at this point. Well, before we do, for anybody who wants to, let's go with that one. How did you feel about the fact, sorry, how did you feel about the fact that Sid made everyone turn against Arnold over money?
I mean, Sid was my homie. Like, Sid was my boy. So I got no problem with that. Yeah, I'm working. What am I working on now? Yes, I'm doing a new cartoon, which is great. It's called Spidey and His Amazing Friends. It's on Disney Junior, and it launches on Disney Plus soon. It's the first Marvel cartoon aimed for preschoolers, and it's super adorable, super cute. I don't think we have any preschoolers here, but if you have little cousins or nieces or nephews or kids that are 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, I play Rhino, and I'm having a blast.
And you just beat me to it, Matt, because I always end with, what are you doing now, and where can everybody follow you at? So what are you doing now has been addressed.
Follow me here.
Where can people follow you?
At Justin Shenkarow. Follow me on Twitter, at Justin Shenkarow. Hit me up, DM me. I'm happy to respond, and thanks for being a fan. You guys are awesome.
Now, what was that one Eerie, Indiana backstage photos thing again? What was that one?
Oh, yeah. Eerie, Indiana Photos. That's on Instagram. Eerie, Indiana Photos, and that's behind-the-scenes photos that Uncle Frank took on set. So they're all photos from 1991. It's pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, again, one more time, thank you very much. It means a lot to me. I know it means a lot to the followers. So you're a scholar and a gentleman. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me on, man. This was fun. And anytime, let me know when you want to do it again. And thank you all the fans and friends that that showed up. You guys are amazing. You make everything so fun. So have a lovely evening, and talk to y'all soon.
All right. Thank you again, Justin.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.